Cars outside. All right, Brett, for the purposes of titling, would you say your full name and then spell it?
Okay. Brett Weber, B-R-E-T-T-W-E-B-E-R. It's Octo.
Stand by. And you want to look at her.
Okay.
Pressure's on me now.
That's right. All right, go ahead, Amy.
Okay. What did it mean to you to be involved in MS awareness?
Well, it was a real gift. I didn't expect to be able to be involved in it. I knew the MS Society was planning something for their 60th anniversary, but I had no reason to believe that we would be part of it. We had a good friend, actually, who I've worked with as a volunteer at the National MS Society in New York. Her name is Andrea Fury, and she invited us, actually, to come and take part in the Face of MS. And so my family and I, my mother and my father and myself, were the first of, I guess they chose 60 people, and now the website includes over 1,000 stories. So just really blessed, just to be part of the beginning of that, and to be able to express, how MS has affected us personally, on many different levels.
Okay. Is this not the same question?
You can ask me the same question again, too, just to kind of get different.
Just read what they have there.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever is, because.
Well, why is it important to you personally?
Well, it's important to me in the sense that people will pay attention to this. They will hear a lot of different stories. MS is a disease that affects everybody in a different way. It can affect your vision. It can affect your ability to walk. It can affect just your level of fatigue. So sometimes the symptoms can be invisible to people, and then sometimes you can see that I'm in a wheelchair. It's obvious that something's wrong in a physical way. But thefaceofms.org, just the name itself, thefaceofms.org, it was a chance for me to express, what MS has done to me personally, and also how has it affected my mother and my father, my family. And, the goal of all that, and just saying, this is a disease that has come so far in the last 10 years in terms of science and in terms of people addressing possible treatments and ultimately what I hope will be the cure. That's really the purpose behind the web page, so that people grow more accustomed to knowing what MS is all about, and that the little things that everybody can do, just going out and doing the MS walk on a yearly basis, maybe making a contribution to the MS Society, or if you know somebody with MS, just understanding the different challenges that they're going through, in terms of their career, in terms of their family. That's so important. So every little bit we can do to explain what the disease is and how it affects different people is always a plus. It's always a blessing. So I was really just happy to be part of it, and it was really unexpected, but we're very thankful. So.
What does it mean to you to be the face of the MS campaign?
Well, I'm just one of many faces, but I have to tell you, I was really surprised to see my face up on the NASDAQ building. That's something I didn't expect to see ever, and I was one of the few that they chose to put up on the NASDAQ building. And there was a group of us that are now on billboards and taxi media advertising the website, so that people with MS and people who have been affected by the disease will visit it and maybe add their story. What does it mean to me to be the face of MS? Well, I was the face of MS before I was ever asked to be part of the faceofms.org website. Anybody who has a diagnosis is the face of MS for their little group of people, for their society, for their friends and relatives. So in that sense, you know, it's not something that you want to be the face for, but it's certainly something that you have an obligation to do your best and to put up the best face you can, and to just go forward with your life in a positive way. And in time, people are going to find a cure for this disease, and it's already happening. I just want to say, well, there was one little girl. She really touched my heart, and that's part of the reason I'm wearing this shirt. Her name is Allison, and she's only in 5th grade, and she's on the faceofms.org website. So when I sat back and I wanted to see what I had done and looked at my little interview and my mother's interview and my father's interview, I happened upon her interview and her and her mother, and it really touched me to think just for a second that a person could be diagnosed with this disease when they're only in 5th grade. Allison is in 5th grade and she got the diagnosis of MS. I know people who were diagnosed in their early 20s, and I was diagnosed when I was 28. And it's possible probably that I had the disease a lot longer than I was really fully conscious of before I got the diagnosis. But to hear Allison talk and to hear her spirit and to say, I'm sorry, to see Allison and to hear her talk, it really touched my heart. She looks directly at the camera and she says, I'm going to see the cure to MS. And I believe that. And so I wore this shirt, I do believe, because I'm trying to be like Allison, that little girl who's so brave and who really does believe it in her heart. And she just might. She just might. When people come together, anything is possible. And there's been so many great strides forward in terms of science, in terms of our understanding of this disease, and in terms of people's, willingness to help. I mean, like never before. My cousin Gretchen, she rides every year for me in one of the MS 150s, and she lives in Dallas, Texas. And this year she was part of a team that raised over $10.7 million in that area of Texas. That was the record for this year. And so every year, hopefully the record keeps getting broken and people come forward in any way they can and support these kind of things that are going on. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying.
What would you like to see the Clear Channel and their efforts with this campaign for money, resources, and time donated?
Well, I'd really like to thank Clear Channel. Clear Channel has really provided an opportunity for myself and my family and all my friends and all the people who have been touched in some way with MS to come forward and to just say, this is how it has affected me in a real honest kind of way. There's very few opportunities where I have had or my family have had, or I imagine other people with MS have had, to come forward and just tell their story in an honest way. The good and the bad, there's always a mix, and I'm really thankful to Clear Channel for allowing us to do that, and I hope that they'll be able to do that more in the future for us.
All right.
That's all the question I have.
Anything else you want to say? And look at her to say it. Hang on one second. All right, just speak from
Or
your
you
heart.
can talk about yourself.
Well, honestly, I think one of the most important things that anyone can take from this project is the fact that you're not alone. There are a lot of people who have been touched by this disease. You're not the only one. And seeing how many people have been touched by MS and hearing their stories, in different kinds of ways, I mean, it's just a really healing feeling, a healing process for myself and for my family and friends. And you're not in this alone. You don't have to shoulder this burden alone. It's really the whole community and the whole nation No matter what illness it is. It could be MS, it could be some other illness, but in this case it is MS. And for example, my cousin Gretchen, she rides for me every year, and it's hard to describe to you how important that has been to me. Just to know that she's out there and she's riding, and she may be at 150 in terms of the mileage on her bike that she's pushing to finish a race for me. And just knowing that has given me a little extra strength when I'm down or I'm feeling like not getting up in the morning. Just knowing that there are people out there riding or walking or swimming or doing something to try and get people to pay attention and to try and find cures for a disease that at times when you're diagnosed with it you don't think anybody cares about, but there's a whole world that cares, you know, and there's going to be a cure. There is a cure. You know, in 100 years from now, we'll look back and think, wow, why didn't anybody see what the cure was? It's so obvious. All it takes is just this one thing. And it's important to realize that and to remember that and to know that the cure can come at any time. There have been so many remarkable cures over the last 100 years, and they always come suddenly, and hopefully this cure will come suddenly. And so again, I'm just very thankful to Clear Channel and to all the people who have in some way come together this year to try and find a cure for MS. There's no way to express that as a person that has MS but to say I'm genuinely touched by all your kindness. Thank you very much.